Hello, I'm Pedro from Pedro's Garage. Welcome. Today I'd like to talk to you about one of our products, the TechnoTorque, because some people have asked some questions and they want to see the efficiency and they want us to prove that the product is what we're claiming that the product does what we're claiming it does, which is increase your torque at a reduced RPM speed in the engine. It's actually a very simple piece. This is the original, the OEM T that's supplied in the Boxsters from 1997 through 99 inclusive, and on the Carrera 3.4 liter from 1999 and 2000. The throttle body will sit on top and the air will go right through the throttle body into the T, and it has to split into two to go to one side and the other side of the engine. If you look at it just visually, you can see how inefficient it can be. It's a complete 90-degree angle. The air will have to come through the top, bounce off the bottom, and then it will start to create turbulence before it finally makes it out to one side or the other. What we have done is designed our own, tested, and manufacture our own Techno splitter, which we insert inside an original piece, just like the one from the factory. In fact, we get these pieces directly from the manufacturer. Now, as you can see, the piece will split the air coming in a much more efficient way. Now the air does not have to fight itself. It doesn't have to fight the bouncing off of the back of the T, because it splits directly 50% to one side and 50% to the other. It's balanced. When we install it, we balance it so that it will do a 50% split. We also, as you can see, the shine inside, we also highly polish and seal the inside of the splitter and the T itself, making less turbulence, making it, again, a much more efficient airflow into your car. When I talk about the TechnoTorque, I'm also referring to the second version, the TechnoTorque2. The TechnoTorque2 encompasses Boxsters from the year 2000 on through 2004, including the 3.2 and the 2.7 liter engines. The reason why they're different is that the original factory OEM piece is different. This is the one for the newer models. As you can see, it has a slight curvature to it. The throttle body will sit here at an angle, and it's a much smaller intake versus the older engine, believe it or not. The 2.5 liter engine has a 3.5 inch diameter T, while the 2.7 liter and 3.2 liter engines from the newer model years only have a 3 inch diameter. So we had to modify the initial parts, and we had to tailor make them for this particular piece. This is called the TechnoTorque2, and that's why we have both on the website. But when we're talking about the TechnoTorque, and when we show you the efficiency and how and why it works, we'd like you to think that they're both the same. They both work in a very similar fashion, although physically there might be slight differences between them. Looking at the engine bay of a 2.5 liter base Boxster, although there were minor differences from model year to model year, including the engine size itself, most of the components are the same, and we're using this one to illustrate how the system works. The way that air gets into the engine is through the left side vent of the car, right behind the driver's seat. It goes into the air box where the air filter is. It cleans the air, and then it gets channeled directly into the throttle body. The throttle body is basically an air valve that controls the air, the amount of air coming in to the engine. There's a butterfly valve that is actuated by the accelerator. When the accelerator is not open or not depressed, the valve is closed, and as you press the pedal, that valve will start to open until it's fully open, allowing complete passage of air into the T. And this is where we've made our improvement and our change. The T, which its function is to divert 50% of the air to the right bank and 50% to the left bank, It's just a hollow or an empty shell of a T. It's basically a very simple device. The air will come through the throttle body, create a little turbulence, and then finally split 50-50 to go both sides. What we have done is to reduce that turbulence and make it more efficient is we've added the aero splitter in our TechnoTorque. This aero splitter helps the air immediately to get channeled to one side or the other side of the engine, making a lot less effort in the air to go through. The air goes faster and it goes smoother. Two of the advantages of that is that you are going to get a little better torque at about 900 less RPM, 6 to 8 foot-pounds more of torque, and you'll also find that you will get from 1.5 to 2.5 additional miles per gallon in fuel efficiency. And that is so because at the lower RPMs, when you're cruising or when you're at idle and starting from idle, that's where the engine needs most of the efficiency to work. The air will come in a lot quicker, will not have to fight against itself, and will give you that little bit of added efficiency. By simply loosening a few bolts, I can remove some parts to show you the throttle body's operation. It's very simple, and as I said, it's basically a butterfly valve in the center that is controlled by the accelerator. The accelerator will pull on this cable, and in newer cars where there's no such cable, then there will be an electric motor doing the same function. But as the cam opens, it allows more and more air into the engine, and you can see in the background the orange piece, which is the aero splitter of the TechnoTorque, allowing for the more efficient airflow into the engine. So that you can actually see how the TechnoTorque works, I designed and fabricated a very simple device that will visually allow you to judge the efficiency of the TechnoTorque. What I've done is I have a vacuum hose connected to the vacuum backwards so that the air will blow instead of create suction. I have an adapter on the top that will fit the top of the T and fit securely, and then I have the two pieces that will be testing the original T from the factory and the TechnoTorque, both of which I have plugged the opening to the J2 so that no air escapes. In the back, I've put two boards, one on either side of the T, to raise to the center of the T where the maximum airflow should be, and then I've manufactured these little chips made out of foam, very lightweight, very thin, all the same, and I've placed them at 4-inch intervals on both sides of the T to see how many get blown off when I turn on the vacuum cleaner backwards. First with the OEM T, and then changing it and installing the TechnoTorque. So let's do that for a second. Let's connect the OEM. We need to make sure that it's right in the center, and we will turn on the vacuum cleaner. As you can see, 3 chips were blown on either side of the board with the original T from the manufacturer. Let me reset it, and then we'll install the TechnoTorque. Now I have reset all of the chips back on the boards. I've installed the TechnoTorque in place, connected exactly in the same way, positioned in the same way. And let's see what happens when we turn on the air. As you can clearly see, with the TechnoTorque in place, the air is much more efficient. It reaches a lot further, knocking off 5 chips on one side 4 chips on the other. Actually, if I would have left it long enough, it would probably have taken out that other chip. So the same thing happens in your car. With the aero split in place, now the air has a lot less turbulence to fight itself, and it makes it much more efficient to go into both sides of the engine.